A very good morning to my dear students. Once again, welcome back to 7th grade English class. Today we are actually planning to go with the second section which we skipped from unit 5. Yeah, the chapter entitled Easily Distracted, written by Kavita Manthana. Okay, so for that, all of you please take page number 104. Okay, so now here we can start the story. Okay, section 2, Easily Distracted. So now first of all, let us read the preface portion. What happens to a boy who is always distracted? Will he be able to play games? Let us find out. So this is all about a distracted boy, and a question is asked to us whether a distracted boy would be able to play games. Okay, anyway, that question is going to be answered throughout the story. Anyway, we can check what is actually the exact answer being put forward here. Okay, look at the first paragraph, like how I took the last chapter. I mean, the tiger comes to a town. So likewise, we are actually planning to go for a paragraph wise explanation, not a sentence wise explanation. Okay, anyway, let us read the first paragraph. All Harsh Rao's report cards carried the same words in the remarks section. In class 1, his teacher had written good but easily distracted. In class 2, his class teacher, who also happened to teach him math, had this to say: brilliant with numbers but gets easily distracted. And when his mother met the teacher at the end of the year, she was shown his workbook. The first few sums on each page were completed neatly and correctly. Then distraction obviously set in, and Harsh had colored the shapes instead of measuring them, or added phase to numbers like 8 and 9 instead of multiplying them, and so on. So in the first paragraph itself, we got a clear picture about Harsh Rao. Harsh Rao is actually the central character in the story, and we got a clear picture about Harsh Rao. What kind of a person was he? Yeah, he was an easily distracted boy. So it was clearly said in the beginning paragraph that he was extraordinary, he was talented, he was brilliant, he was an outstanding boy, but he lacked concentration. Even though he was brilliant, even though he was outstanding, he could not have concentration. So that is what he had always a habit of distracting from the main theme, or distracting from the main thing. So that is what here it said, that whenever the teacher showed his progress card, even though he was actually a good student, yeah, they remarked as, yeah, distraction occurred to him. And towards the end portion of the first paragraph, it was clearly said that, yeah, he used to do multiplication instead of subtraction, subtraction instead of addition. So in that way, he could not concentrate on a particular thing. That much he was distracted. Okay, let us come back to the second paragraph. Well, Harsh was in class 7 now, and things hadn't changed. His mother never sent him to the shop in an emergency because he was sure to forget the eggs that she had asked for and get distracted by the game of marbles going on by the roadside. She hadn't forgotten that dreadfully embarrassing episode when her friends had dropped in for tea one evening unannounced, just when she had got everything ready to be served. She would realize that the sugar jar was empty. Forgetting her son's distracted ways, she hurriedly sent him off to the corner shop for some sugar, and that was the last they saw of him for almost 2 hours. The tea had gone cold, and all the snacks had been eaten before she called up the store to discover that Harsh had not even reached. The storekeeper was kind enough to step out of the shop to check and reported over the phone that Harsh was busy cheering a game of gully cricket just a few feet from the shop. So a clear portrait of Harsh was presented in the second paragraph. So mother recollected two incidents about harsh distraction, the habit of distraction. Okay, so even though Harsh grew up, the distraction also grew up with him, so that Harsh mother never gave him any task, because she knew that if she had given any task to him, he would have definitely forgotten it. Okay, and here he recollected one interesting incident. Yeah, while she was actually having some guests or some friends in her home, at the time she actually made tea for them, but at the very moment she realized that there was no sugar. So suddenly, forgetting his behavior, she actually sent him to buy some sugar. But what happened? Yeah, he went to the shop in order to buy the sugar, but he was then easily distracted, and he actually went to see the game. And the shopkeeper was actually a person who knew him very well, so he actually telephoned to the house, and he actually let the mother knew about the fact that Harsh was actually seeing the play there. Okay, so in that way he was a distracted boy. His art teacher complained that Harsh got so distracted with sharpening his color pencil that he forgot to draw any pictures with those perfectly sharpened points. See, when the art teacher, when it was actually when the art period was going on, Harsh actually spending his entire time in order to sharpen the pencil. But after sharpening the pencil, what one would do? Yeah, he or she would start drawing something. But for Harsh, he was only sharpening the pencil and he forgot to draw something. So in that way he was distracted. Poor Mrs. Rao could only smile weakly whenever she received the latest report on her son's distraction, and all the time mother got helpless over his son's progress reports. Okay, as you can well imagine, Harsh wasn't immune to the distraction bug on the playfield either. Though quite a good bowler, he had been thrown out of the cricket team for some memorable distraction-induced disasters. So this is actually another interesting event with regard to his distraction. The whole school still remembered watching that exciting cricket match with their arch rivals, Vishweshwar High School. Though down to their last batsman, the rivals just had a couple of runs to make to win when a beautiful easy catch came Harsh's way. Almost in slow motion, the entire school watched as the ball travelled in a gentle arc towards Harsh. It was the easiest catch in the world and would have won the whole school the match. But Harsh was in another world. His schoolmates watched in horror as Harsh sat crouched, peering at something terribly engrossing on the ground. The crowd let out a low moan as the ball fell unnoticed a foot away from a blissfully oblivious Harsh. So this was actually another interesting event regarding his distraction. So while there was actually going a cricket match in his school, and there was actually an opposite team, and it was actually at the last moments of the game, and at that time there was actually some more runs. The opposite team actually needed some more runs in order to win the match. That means the till then the match was actually most probably on whose side? On Harsh school side. And the opposite team needed some more runs to win the match. At the time, Harsh missed one possible catch. In that way, he pushed the opposite team into victory. Okay, so what he was doing, yeah, while the obvious catch was near to him, while the ball was actually moving in a slow motion towards his reach, he was simply watching, yeah, something on the ground. So in that way, he got distracted and he missed the catch, and as a result, they failed in the cricket match, and that time the victory was with the opposite team. Okay, later he confessed that he had gotten completely engrossed with an army of ants that were dragging a huge leaf across the ground. Naturally, his friend just sighed and made Harsh swear that he would never mention this ant story to anyone else because he had certainly get beaten up. So later, he actually confessed to a particular friend what was actually going on then. Yeah, what he was doing, he was actually watching the marching of ants, yeah, carrying a leaf across the ground. Okay, so then the friend mentioned that so never confess this thing to anyone else. If you confessed this to other people, they would definitely beat you. Okay, so in that way, so this was actually his distraction, which is why his parents decided that a solitary sport like tennis would be better for their distracted son. At least that way his teammates would not have to pay the price for his distractions, and that's how he began tennis classes at the local club. So his parents thought that it was better for him to send for a individual game like tennis or something like that. That means if even though he was a failure in that individual item, that wouldn't affect the other ones. See, while he was actually playing the cricket, his distraction, yeah, would affect the entire team. But if he was actually playing a single event, or if he was actually playing an individual game, that wouldn't affect anyone else other than him. So his parents thought that it was better for him to send for some individual items. Okay, Harsh fell in love with the game. In 6 months, he had become so good at it that he was playing with the older boys and beating them. Without realizing it, his parents had selected a game that had no scope for distraction. In football or hockey, the ball would travel off to the other end of the field, allowing a boy like Harsh to start dreaming about what his mother had made for dinner, or worse still, begin inspecting the outer sides of some insect on the ground. With tennis, the ball just kept returning so quickly, there was no chance for the mind to wander, and better still, the absolutely flat, well-rolled court didn't offer shelter to any form of insect life. So then they thought that, see, if he was actually playing cricket, there was actually a hope for distraction. See, for example, when a batsman hit a ball towards the other side, towards the opposite side, it would definitely take some time to for the ball to travel through the ground and reach the side of the bowler. So within that time, or there might be a chance or on the part of Harsh to get distracted. But if he was actually playing tennis, there wouldn't be such a hope. Yeah, because the balls were approaching so fast. So they thought that it was anyway it was better to send him for tennis. Though Harsh was the shortest among us, those training under his coach, his first serve was spectacular. He fired the most number of aces and nobody could match his stylish backhand. His father got all excited as the club's annual tournament week approached. But his mother knew better. Every week she expected a call from the coach complaining about her son's famous distraction. When the calls didn't come, she somehow got more worried. Was his coach also so distracted that he didn't know what Harsh was up to? But Harsh was doing well in the tennis, and his parents were so happy. And his mother on the other side was actually expecting every time a call from the coach saying about her son's distraction, but she did not get any call from the coach. So she thought that the coach himself was a person who was almost similar to that of Harsh. Okay. One evening, Harsh came home with a big bruise on his forehead. Happened during practice, did it? Her father asked worriedly. And one day he came, there was actually a mark on his forehead. Then the father asked, was it part of the game? Harsh was vague and evasive. That means he didn't say anything. Not really, don't really remember. His parents exchanged looks over his head. His mother first thought was that he had been in a fight and didn't want to talk about it. Since her son was the youngest at the courts, she hoped he wasn't getting bullied. A couple of days later, she noticed a deep gash on his knee and gently suggested that if he wanted to skip tennis classes for a few days, he could. But he insisted on going the next day and the next and the next. So then the parents detected some kind of bodily scratches every day. As the bruises and cuts increased, so day by day there occurred so many marks on the body. So the parents got confused. Mrs. Rao started to panic. She became convinced that her son was being bullied, or that while trying to keep up to the standard of the older boys, he was pushing himself too hard and hurting himself in the process. She decided to find out for herself. While Harsh was still at school one day, she walked across to the club. The moment she set eyes on the coach, all her worries of the past few weeks bubbled over, and she launched herself on a virtual attack of the poor, unprepared coach. The man was speechless. He had no idea what Mrs. Rao was talking about. No, he swore, Harsh had never been in a fight while on the courts. He was beating the older boys in tennis so easily. He didn't really have to struggle or push himself to the limit as Mrs. Rao imagined. In fact, Harsh was guaranteed to win the club's junior tennis trophy with hardly any effort. The coach's face lit up. Yes, maybe that was the reason Harsh's interest had now been taken up by high jump. Tennis no longer held any challenge for him, the coach felt. In fact, he was about to suggest that maybe the Raos ought to think of shifting Harsh to a more professional tennis academy where they could take his talent much further, when the poor man was rudely interrupted. So when the parents detected the presence of increasing marks on his body, his mother suddenly went to approach the coach, and the mother got angry with the coach. Then the coach didn't expect anything, and the coach didn't know anything. So the coach was surprised why this mother was speaking at all. Okay, then the coach said that there was no chance of quarreling, occurrence of quarreling there, because the Harsh was very outstanding player, and he was actually doing his best in tennis, and he was actually the leading player there. So there was no hope of occurring a quarrel in between the players. So in that way the coach replied, and the coach also said one thing, that nowadays he was more interested in high jumps. Then high jump, scooped Mrs. Rao. What high jump? She asked, completely aghast. And then she got angry. What are you saying? What high jump? So in that way she replied. The coach looked even more confused. Harsh has been finishing his tennis practice early because he says he has to go for high jump practice too. Didn't you know about it, Mrs. Rao? The look on the poor lady's face told him that she didn't know, but was soon going to find out. Then coach said that, didn't you know about anything? Yeah, nowadays Harsh was so much interested in high jump, so he stopped playing tennis so early, and so that he could go for high jump after leaving from the tennis academy or tennis play. Okay. On her way home, Mrs. Rao was furious. How could she think Harsh's interest in tennis would last a while more? Of course, the distraction bug was bound to catch up with him sooner or later. And it had, with a sudden interest in high jump, right in the middle of tennis classes. She dreaded facing her husband's disappointment when he learned that his budding tennis champ had abandoned his racket for the high jump pit. So while the mother was actually moving towards the home, mother got confused. Yeah, if her husband knew this distraction that happened on Harsh's side, the husband would definitely get angry. Yeah, because the coach said that Harsh was a promising player, and Harsh was actually developing as a very famous player, and he stopped playing tennis at that time. That would definitely would not be a good thing. So her husband would definitely get angry. So in that way, she was actually thinking about all these things, and she was actually moving towards the hop. That evening, when Harsh limped in with yet another bump on him from yet another mysterious fall or fight, his mother confronted him. What is all this? I hear about high jump practice, she said, catching him totally off guard. It was Harsh's turn to look shocked. Then the look turned to one of guilt. Oh, I wanted to tell you about it, but it just slipped my mind. He trailed off, but his mother was in no mood for evasive answers that night, and slowly she extracted an account from him for each and every bruise on his body. And when on that particular day, when Harsh came to the home, there was also one mark on his body. At the time, the mother got angry and mother started questioning Harsh. At the time, Harsh was not at all expecting such a question, so he was trapped. And he tried to jump from the situation by giving unclear answers. But this time, the mother was not satisfied with his unclear answers, incomplete answers. So she actually wanted to know the exact reason. You remember that Wimbledon semi-final where Marat Safin threw his racket into the bat into the air after he won? He asked his mother. Mrs. Rao nodded, wondering what this had to do with her son. Harsh continued, after I started beating everyone on the courts, I got quite boring, really boring. So I started fooling around and the coach gave me a solid lecture on the price of getting distracted. His mother looked surprised and then confused. Where was all this leading to, she wondered. So one day, while watching a replay of Safin's famous racket throwing, Harsh looked wistful as he spoke. I thought, what was the point of winning all those club matches if I didn't have a winner style? You know, like throwing a racket in the air, Safin style, or banging shoulders like Pace and Fubadi used to do when they were friends and played mixed doubles as partners. He trailed off sheepishly. Okay, so here in this paragraph, it was spoken about the different playing style of many players. Many famous players like Marat Safin, then Mahesh Bhubadi, and Leandro Paes and someone like that. Okay. Anyway, what he was actually trying to say here is that, yeah, actually this time mother wanted to know the exact reason before the increasing marks on his body. At that time, he started to explain what it was. Then he spoke about the different styles of players. See, for example, imagine if Sachin secured a century in a match. After the century, he used to raise the bat in his hand and waving the viewers, all these gestures. So likewise, every players have their own styles. So what was actually the style of Marat Safin? Yeah, after every play, Marat Safin threw his racket, threw his bat. So that was actually his style. And what about Mahesh Bhubadi and Leandro Paes? Or banging shoulders. So Paes and Bhubadi used to bang their shoulders. So all these were their mannerisms just after a particular play. So likewise, okay. So in that way, he mentioned the mannerisms of Marat Safin, Leandro Paes, and Mahesh Bhubadi. And the mother got again and again confused why he was saying all these things. Why he was saying about the mannerisms of different players when the mother asked about the reason for the increasing marks on his body? Then the mother got surprised again and again. A look of understanding dawned on his mother's face and she had to struggle to suppress a smile. Then mother got a clue and she guessed something and she started to say, she finished the sentence for him. So, that first bruise on your head was when the racket you threw up fell on your head. Then the mother got the idea. Yeah, he was actually simply trying to imitate Marat Safin. So when what Marat Safin used to do after a play? After a play, Marat Safin used to throw his bat. So likewise, here Harsh also used to throw his bat, but he was not an expertise. So the bat actually, fell on his forehead or something like that. That was actually the reason behind the mark there. Okay, so the first bruise on your head was when the racket you threw up fell on your head. So in that way the mother got the idea. Harsh nodded sadly, but before his mother could ask about the other bruises and gashes, he continued, then I realized that if the racket broke, Papa wouldn't be too thrilled about spending on another. So I decided on another winning stunt. His mother couldn't resist snapping. You are absolutely right. Papa would certainly have not replaced a racket that had been intentionally tossed in the air just for the sake of style. Harsh winced, as though he could still feel the pain of that knock from his descending racket. Looking at his face, he said, I would see another unknown player leap over the net after he would won a match at the Australian Open. He made it look so easy, but when I tried it, I kept falling. So then the boy said that, and if he threw the bat into the air, definitely the bat got broken. And if the bat was broken, his papa wouldn't replace it with a new one. So he actually gave up that idea. Then what was actually the second manner he actually wanted to imitate? Yeah, and looking at his feet, he said, I had seen another unknown player leap over the net. See, I also watched another player leaping. Leaping means reaching to the height, leaping over the net after he had won a match. So he also used to imitate a player who used to leap over the net after he won a match. So that was actually the second thing he wanted to imitate. And when he imitated that player also, yeah, he was a failure. So when he leapt over the net, yeah, he fell downward. I kept falling. So he was continuously falling. So in that area also he was a failure. So the first imitation he actually wanted to do was actually throwing the bat away, but he perfectly knew that if he threw the bat would definitely damage and Papa wouldn't replace it with a new one. So he actually dropped that idea. So the second imitation he was trying to do was actually imitating a player who used to leap over the net after he won a particular match. And when he tried to leap over the net, he fell downward. Okay, so in that area also he was a failure. It took all Mrs. Rao's self-control not to burst out laughing right there, but she maintained her composure. Somehow, keeping a straight face, so that's why you have been going for high jump practice, she asked innocently. So then the mother asked, oh, this was actually the reason you stopped going for tennis and you went for what? High jump. Okay. Harsh nodded, but with a look of total defeat, confessed, but Ma, I'm not good at it. High jump. I mean, the tournament is only a week away and I still can't jump over the net. Harsh looked dejected. Mrs. Rao thought for a moment. She had to come up with a solution that her son considered acceptable and that would put a stop to all the bruises and bumps. It was a tough one. Unlike all past cases of distraction, at least this time Harsh was still well within the field of tennis. Maybe she had to thank Marat Safin for it. That gave her an idea and she perked up, saying, I remember one US Open, Harsh, when Nadal won a match, he took off his shirt and threw it into the crowd. How about that for a stylish winning stunt? Okay, then finally, Harsh said that the tournament was almost nearer to him, but even though the tournament was almost nearer to him, he was not at all a well player in high jump. So he knew that he would be a failure because he could not perform in the high jump as he did perform in the tennis. Okay, so anyway, Harsh said that how could he participate? How could he participate in the match without a particular style of his own? So in that way, he confessed it to his mother. Then the mother actually suggested him about a stylish manner which he could adopt or which he could imitate. She said that there was actually a US Open player, Nadal. Nadal used to take away his shirt after he won a match, and the mother said that would be a good style her son could follow. Then Harsh was very much happy, and this was actually acceptable for Harsh also. Okay, Harsh was silent as he thought over his mother's suggestion. He had had enough of the bruises earned while practicing victory leaps over the net, so he was ready to try out anything, but was shirt removal as dramatic as leaping over the net. Being an ardent fan of Nadal's, he was ready to do anything his hero did. But would the older boys laugh at him? Finally, he made up his mind. He would pull off the shirt stand only if he won the finals. Yes, looking relieved, he said, "Yeah, Ma, that sounds great." Mrs. Rao sent up a silent prayer in thanksgiving. She wondered if all the cuts, bruises, and gash her son had suffered in the course of his latest distraction would finally cure him of his crazy tendencies. But she knew it was too much to hope for. Okay, anyway, so the suggestion from mother's part was actually acceptable for whom? Acceptable for Harsh, and Harsh accepted mother's suggestion. So as per his mother's suggestion, he decided to take away his shirt if he won a match in his own winning style, similar to that of the world famous players used to do when they won a particular match. Okay, so this is the story is all about. So I hope that you got an idea about the story. Anyway, you can read the story sentence wise, and in that way you can get familiar with the story. Anyway, I think it's a time to wind up. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.